So I'll text you right now.
9. Not just the number of wins that the Denver Broncos currently have,
Oh my God.
but also the length and inches of Patrick Keode's.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.
We've done a lot of really good cold opens. That might be the best one. That might be my favorite, because people will never know what I was actually saying. And you're welcome to Zach and Joey for not having to edit that or put explicit content, at least not at this point. Welcome everybody to Altitude Adjustment. My name is Mario Batanzi. With me, as usual, is the ever sexy Patrick Keode. Pat, let's just get right into it, man. There's no two ways around it. The Denver Broncos are almost a mortal lock to go to the playoffs. And who would have seen this coming except me, you, and pretty much anybody that's been watching our show for the past couple of months? But here's the thing, Pat. There's trouble in River City right now. I'm having a difficult time. Like, look, I'm never going to gripe about a win. A win is a win is a win. Ugly win against Cleveland, ugly win against Indianapolis. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you either get a check in the win column or a check in the loss column. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. But why are we concerned with an 18-point win? Pat, I know that your boy Nate Tice thinks that the Broncos have a really good run game.
There we go.
And I don't know if Nate Tice has been watching Broncos games of late, Pat. And I would guess not, since apparently he doesn't watch the games, or at least that's what we've been told by very reliable sources.
He does.
Here's my trepidation. Yeah. Now that we're at this point, because the season evolves, right? Like, our takes as fans and analysts will evolve as the season evolves. So where we started, Pat, you and I, was we want to see the Broncos win, maybe win a couple games they're not supposed to, watch Bo Nix develop, prove that he's the guy. Anything else is gravy. That's where we started. That was a long time ago, and that was 9 wins ago. Where we're at now, Pat, we need to start discussing how the Denver Broncos can not just make the playoffs, because they're on the precipice, okay? 93, 91%, whatever you subscribe to. Now the discourse has to shift from, does Bo Nix improve? Is this a playoff caliber team, to how do they win a playoff game? How do they go on a playoff run? And here's the bottom line, Pat. If the run game does not get better, drastically better, they're not going to win a playoff game. And they would, the very best, maybe they can pull one off and they can go, they're a one and done. Yeah. And it's not just that the running game needs to work for the sake of the offense, but Bo Nix needs a good run game to take some of the pressure off of him. And again, I'm not gonna pull blame from Bo. He straight up said that he needs to be better. 3 interceptions is completely inexcusable. But Pat, I know you cut the film. I know you were tweeting out a couple of different plays. I know you had a big problem with how this running game is working. So I want to kick it over to you, and I want you to tell everybody what's wrong with the run game, aside from the ghost of Javonte Williams' past being the main ball carrier, and how do they fix it, most importantly?
Just reminds me of that It's Always Sunny clip. Like, you say there's a war going on. There is a war going on right now, and it is Sean Payton and this run game. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Javonte Williams, love him, absolutely love him to death. Audric Estime, love him to death. Sean, buddy. They're not zone scheme guys. It's time to cut that off. Okay. Javonte
what do they need to do, Pat?
Run more gap. Run more gap scheme. because they have the offensive line personnel to do it. They like Javonte Williams, if they can get him north and south, just get him north and south, that'll be better for this offense. It'll be like when I watch this team block on their run plays, when they run gap scheme stuff, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful when guys are picking up their assignments. They ran power at one point in this game on like a short yardage down, and Ben Powers is supposed to kick out, and it's out of like a strong I formation. So Michael Burton's back there. Michael Burton is taking out the end. Okay, Powers has to come through. There's one guy. There's one player on the outside. Burton hits his guy, and Powers is coming across. He's pulling, and there's one guy on the outside, and it's a corner. This is like every offensive lineman's dream, right? And if he hits that block and Javonte just follows right off of his ass, I'm not even kidding. This is a 30, 40-yard gain. And Powers just goes right into Burton and leaves the edge completely open, and then Javonte gets tackled for no gain or 1 yard.
He shouldn't have been standing there.
It's things like that, though. Like it's just the miscues. We had several players in the game against Indy who just like whiffed on big blocks. Even Quinn Miners whiffed on a couple of blocks when he's trying to climb to the next level. But a lot of this run game is so just zone based, and Javonte and Audric are not those kinds of runners. Jaleel is fantastic at it. Keep running zone with Jaleel. And I understand, like, oh, if you put them in it, no, it's not. It's not a tell. Okay, it's not a tell to have Javonte or Audric in there and like run zone every once in a while, but they just fucking hammer them with zone, and they're not zone runners. Like watching Javonte Williams like have to read the zone hole and like stop essentially and like be patient as a running back would. It's like fucking starting your car, driving it out of your driveway, and then like stalling it out and then trying to get it back into gear. And then by the time you do, the whole transmission's fucked. And now you're having to take your car to a mechanic. Like that's what it's like watching this team run zone. But if they ran more like quick gap scheme stuff, power, if they ran power with Quinn Miners, like running power to the left side and having Quinn pull and kick out, my God. Well, like when Ben Powers makes contact with a defender, he's fucking throwing him, right? So we need to run way more gap scheme. Audric would be fantastic at gap scheme. Every time they run him on gap, it's like a fucking 5-6 yard gain. It's beautiful. They ran that spin counter that I think Ross pointed out that Green Bay ran it a couple weeks ago. And they ran it with Jaleel, and it was perfect. Like it was the perfect setup because they had Marvin in the backfield and they send him and they do that little spin and give. And Jaleel is so good in like getting past the line of scrimmage. They're really good when they run gap stuff. Run more gap stuff, please, for the love of God. Especially look at what Tampa Bay did to Los Angeles this last week. Granted, Muse, you said we don't have a Bucky Irving, and that is 100% true. But we have an Audric Estime, we have a Jaleel McLaughlin, and like if they're planning on running more gap stuff, please give Javonte some opportunities in that. I feel like a lot of his struggles come from the fact that like these runs are asking him to work tight windows and cut back. He just doesn't have that juice anymore. And that's fine. Right. But if you get him going with a head of steam and you just like have him follow off of Powers' ass or Miner's ass, or fucking run some TY counter for fuck's sake. Give Javonte an opportunity to run off of McGlinchey. McGlinchey is athletic enough to really make that long pull and kick someone out. Run those looks because it will work so well. That's a long rant. That's my issue with the run game. It's just like it's a combination of guys getting their ass kicked at the line of scrimmage. This last game's fucking terrible. Those guys, like I know for a fact, some of those dudes are getting ripped into in the film room. Especially, I'm not even going to say his name. You already know who it is. Okay. When you snap the fucking ball and your first step on a run play is backwards, you lost. You lost the rep. And it happened numerous times during this game. He's getting help. Quinn Miners was doing a fantastic job of shanking guys into the help, and he would still lose. It's like, goddamn, what more do you need? We need to upgrade at one position and one position only. I feel like the rest of the guys are fine. It's frustrating.
Everybody that's familiar with this show or even familiar with the team knows exactly what you're talking
about this. Jesus.
So here's the thing. Let's look at this. Okay, go ahead.
Last thing. We might as well call fucking Latavius Murray and see what he's up to. Like, we might as well just do that. If this is how
he's
we're
like
gonna
40,
run,
man, leave him alone.
Who cares? Can he get 3 yards of carry? Because that's more than what we're getting out of these other guys. Damn.
DB Muse wants to know if this is the new erectile dysfunction segment. No, but Luke Wattenberg absolutely gives us erectile dysfunction. I want to look at this big picture, and it's funny you said Latavius Murray. I'm pretty sure that he was the last 100-yard rusher that the Denver Broncos had, and it was against the Chargers a few years ago. I think that was the Ejiro Evero saga. Can you call it the blip? The Ejiro Evero blip. No, was it Evero that? Oh my God! Now I don't even remember who it was. The team was a disaster, but yeah. Regardless, I'm pretty sure that was their last 100-yard rusher. If I'm wrong, someone in the comments tell me who the most recent 100-yard rusher was. But I want to look at this big picture. And the reason that we bring this up, and it's not just to gripe, and it's not just to let Pat go on rants, but it's like we want to put everything into perspective for you guys. Yeah.
Jerry
Rosberg, the specialty consultant guy, right? It was the coach who coached people. But the reason that we want to bring this to attention, we're not griping about this team. We're not going to tell you anything that should be considered a hot take. But what we want you to know is, like, you as a Bronco fan now, your expectations have changed. Your expectations now need to be, well, okay, we're already in the playoffs for all intents and purposes. We need to win oh my God. We need to win a playoff game. We need to win a couple playoff games. We need to go on a run. We need to prove that, like, not only have we arrived, but we're going to be here for a long ass time, and that there's not going to be a drop off, because this is going to be the worst roster that Bo Nix ever has around him. And I don't think that's saying anything that's too crazy.
Did you hear what Bo said today?
I want to harp on this. If this persists, you can beat teams like Cleveland. You can beat teams like Indianapolis. You can beat 500 and sub 500 teams playing the way that you did. You're not going to win in the playoffs. You're not going to go to Pittsburgh. As much as everyone thinks that they want to play against Russell Wilson can score 18 points, 16 points, and still beat the offense that showed up a couple days ago. You don't, like, if you have to go to Buffalo, God forbid, you're going to get your doors kicked in if you play the way that you did.
Oh, God, please.
It's great having a defense that can bail you out. And by God, we saw a defense in 2015 that carried the skeleton zombie corpse of Peyton Manning to his second Super Bowl championship. So defenses can bail you out, but the offense needs to be good enough. Yeah. And that's exactly what the offense was in 2015. This defense, I know this was one of the things that you wanted to talk about, Pat, is this defense as elite as the 2015. Like, I think they're tied for first in, like, points allowed. They've scored a lot of defensive touchdowns. They've won some games for this team. They're not on that level yet, okay? And they might never be. That was a whole nother transcendent level. That being said, though, Pat, they're good enough to help them win some games. But again, when you get to playoff time, if your offense isn't clicking a little bit, and if you're getting off to one of these slow starts that we have now become famous for, and you're scoring 0 or 3 or 6 or 7 points in the first half, and you're going 3 and out on your first drive and punting, shit's not going to cut it. Again, you can get away with that against bad teams. You will not get away with that against playoff teams. So the reason that I wanted to have Pat rant about the run game is because that's where it's all going to begin. Like, if they could just get on the same page, if they could just figure that shit out and just be like, Pat, just like a little below average. That's all I'm asking right now. You go pull up Javonte Williams' total yardage in each of the last, 10 games? It'll make you barf. It'll make you physically sick to your stomach. And again, I don't want to shit on Javonte, okay? This is not shit on Javonte because it's like you said, it's everything, okay? You sent out, you had sent out a tweet breaking down one of the interceptions, and you're like, who's at fault? Basically everybody. Same concept here. So let me ask you this, Pat, like, is it like they're not executing the way that they should? Do they just need to be hungrier? Is it Sean Payton needs to be a little bit more imaginative in the run game? Because here's the thing, like, people gripe that Bo Nix is throwing the ball so much. He kind of has to.
You have to.
Because you can't run the ball.
You can't fucking run. It's like it's crazy. I would love to go back and see like the numbers for like rookie quarterbacks. Just rookie quarterbacks. Like how many, where they ranked in passing attempts at the end of the season. Like even rookie Joe Burrow had Joe Mixon. And they had a great run game in Cincinnati. And so like it makes everything easier because something that the Colts did this last week, which every team in the league and every team that we're potentially going to face in the playoffs will see on film, is they loaded the box. I mean, I like looking down at my tracker, like 7 in the box, 7 in the box, 7 in the box, 7 in the box, just loaded the box and basically said, run, like run it. We fucking dare you. We know you can't. So we're gonna crowd the fucking line. Right?
And make them one-dimensional.
And they absolutely did. And they did a really, really good job at shutting it down. But Sean, like I saw so many people talking about the interceptions and like, oh, how could, like, it's the fucking Eric Andre meme, like Bo Nix shooting him and being like, God, how could Sean Payton do this? Like, it's everybody. Like Sean had some really bad calls in this game, and that's fine. Like no coach is perfect. No coach will ever call a perfect game, right? And he said that himself. He said he needed to get better. He said that he called some dumb plays, and I was like, you know what, Sean, you did. You really did.
You did.
And it's like it's not the coach isn't out there like calling the play and then being like, hey, Bo, actually, I know I said your first read is going to be this, but I actually just need you to throw it to the fucking linebacker who's sitting in front of the curl. And Bo's like, Coach, are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, Bo. Throw the interception. Like, no, that's not what's happening.
Bold strategy, Pat.
It's a bold strategy, Mario. Let's see if it pays off. But like, I think it just needs to be a change for Sean. Like he does need to get a little bit out of his own way when it comes to the amount of zone that he's running, the situations in which he's running these. But he ran the ball 3 times in the first quarter. Let me say that again. He ran the ball 3 times in the first quarter. That's not enough. It's not nearly.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, Pat, I'm pretty sure Indy converted 2 3rd and 10s or 3rd and longs running the ball.
Yep.
And honestly, Pat, when they got away from the run game and they started to get a little panicky after Jonathan Taylor's fumble, that was when their offense fell apart. So if you need like actual proof of how important a run game is to a young quarterback who's got the tools, but he's still a little bit shaky, still finding his footing, Anthony Richardson is in the same boat. And as soon as they abandoned the run game and weren't able to run the ball, he spiraled completely out of control. He was sharp enough in the first quarter and the first few drives. Yeah. And it's like, this is a microcosm of what we need to see. And so if we want to give a silver lining, this last one.
Yeah. Okay. He did. And I'll tell you what was going on. Okay. I feel like this game offensively, the Colts did some stuff that was really different and they just were not prepared for it. And so I think that this is one of those situations where your offensive game plan early, like we got to throw the script out, right? Those first 15 plays are so crucial to how the rest of the game will go, because you're showing
They
so
had a
many
successful opening drive yet this year.
How
many opening drives have they scored on? Like a touchdown on the opening drive. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. If you know in the chat, LTB Muse, you're a computer, LTB Muse. Why don't you figure out how many opening drives they've scored a touchdown on?
No,
and we're not including like if there was like a turnover and they got the ball in plus territory.
Yeah.
He said it has to be like 2 times. I'm not asking for you to guess, Muse. Okay, use your nerdy computer brain and figure out the statistics that I'm asking for, because I don't have time to Google.
But, last thing I'll say on that is just like when you're in those situations and, you're coming off a bye, and this was not one of their better, like coming off a bye performances. The best one was last year, obviously, by far. But this is just one of those situations where they were showing something that was familiar, Gus Bradley came prepared, and he's one of the best. I shouldn't say best, better defensive coordinators and better defensive game planners in the league. And so he just saw some things on film that, Bo, like the cover 2-1, they did sink a linebacker, but they had somebody else kind of robbing it. And they just played it perfectly. The overthrow to Sutton, I don't know. They like go read my thread about that. And the other one was just like a plain miss. Like,
the second one that you had pointed out, that looks like he's throwing to a spot, and that's clearly a timing based route.
And he overthrew it. For sure.
He did. And that's what I'm saying. It's like
some air on it.
Sometimes as a young quarterback, as a rookie quarterback, you're relying entirely on throwing to a spot instead of in the moment being able to pick up on the fact that, okay, the DB got a little bit physical with Cortland Sutton. He couldn't get off of the contact. And like you had said in your thread, it was within 5 yards. It was perfectly fine. Sutton has to be more physical. He has to get to the spot. But at the same time, Bo has to recognize that the timing is off. So put the ball on Sutton. So really, it's on both of them. Like, they both need to do a better job in their respective positions.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Like, the reason I'm looking forward to this being a Thursday night game, Pat, I think the bye week, it came really late in the season. I know a lot of guys were upset about that, but that's another conversation for another day. You have a lot of time to kind of sit and stew and overthink about your opponent.
Yeah.
And I think we see that with rookies where it's like they're almost overly prepared. And I think that was actually an instance with Bo a lot of the times. It's like the first interception that he threw, again, he was throwing to a spot. He was reading a certain player. Zaire Franklin made a great play. He jumped the route. A lot of people are like, oh, that's a terrible throw. It's like, yeah, it looks like a bad throw because he threw it right at him. Franklin made a great defensive play. And that's the read that Bo had. And it's just like it's one of those things where you're automatic, and like that's the downside of having a really good processor, because in his brain it's like that pass is open because he's throwing it to a spot. But you have to be able to improvise sometimes. You have to be able to kind of adjust on the go.
That's it. It also felt to me like somebody else pointed this out, but on that play, like he didn't really come back to his left, right? So to me, what that says is this was a half field concept. Okay. And Bo predetermined where he was going to go with the ball. Like that's what it says. That's what it says, at least to me, from like, because he gets it. He goes 1, 2, boom, ball's out. And like, you got to at least get to 3. We can't skip. Like, I understand that it's on the other side of the field, but like, we have to be, he is quick enough. He's got quick enough footwork and quick enough eyes to go 1, 2. Okay, let me peek 3. Okay. And if you got to go back to 2, that's fine. But like, really look at 2. You peek 3, come back to 2. Oh, there's 3 defenders there. Meanwhile, you've got 3 wide open. Fucking hit the 3. Don't just I don't care if it's a 2x2 concept. You have to be able to scan. So if he's predetermining where he's going to go on these half field concepts, it's something that DCs are going to pick up and they're going to look at it. Like you look at somebody like Kirk Cousins against the Broncos. He had a play where he literally went through all 4 of his reads and he still was able to come back. Right? If fucking Kirk, who just got benched for Michael Penis Jr., then Bo Nix can do it. But we can't have you predetermining where you're going to go with the ball just because, they're showing cover 2 or they're it's either 2 or 4. I'm going to be fine. No, motherfucker. Read post snap. Stop fucking around.
So where do we go from here? And this, again, these are all gripes. And let me say this real quick. Here's the luxury of having a team that is performing better than I think anybody could have anticipated. Pat and I had said that their ceiling was roughly 10 games, if Bo. And that's pretty much where they're at right now. So it's important to keep perspective. But here's the thing. Like I said earlier, things will organically change. And so we have to change with them. And we're basing it off of things that we have seen. Okay. We have seen the lowest of lows and the highest of highs from this team. So I think that the thing to take away from it is at the end of the day, despite all of these gripes, the 3 interceptions from Bo, I think he only threw for 130 yards. He had a rough game. The run defense was non-existent. They won by 18. And when was the last time, as a Broncos fan, you watched a game and you're like, we did not play well. We had a really, really, really bad game, and you win by 3 possessions. 3 possessions. So it's we can complain until we're blue in the face, but the fact that they still found a way to win by 3 possessions, it's very encouraging.
Yeah. No, it is.
But this is also a what have you done for me lately league. And they have 3 games left, Pat. They have to, obviously they have to win at least. They have to win at least 1. But we're going to treat it as though they need to win out. And honestly, if they win out and some other things happen, they could wind up with the 5 seed, and then they get to go to Houston instead of having to go to Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Buffalo. Give me Houston over any of those teams any day. And that's why we want to discuss this. This team has shown the propensity to move the ball with ease, to move the ball flawlessly and effortlessly. They have also shown a propensity to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock and just be constantly getting in their own way, whether it's poor decision-making or lack of execution or bad play calling. It's all over the board. So I think what's frustrating is that we've seen how it can be, and this kind of has shades of last season with Russell Wilson, where it's you've seen glimpses of how good it can be, but there was no consistency. We've seen glimpses of how unbelievably good Bo Nix can be, especially for a rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. But then there are lapses in judgment. There are lapses in execution. Those are the things that you have to clean up as a football team if you want to be a serious contender. And what I will say that is really helping their case, Pat, and maybe this is getting you a little bricked up already, their special teams has been absolutely not just keeping them in games, but putting them in positions to win games. And I think that's the aspect that everybody forgets about. Your special teams needs to be like a spare tire. You don't want to have to think about it, but when you need it, it has to be there.
Oh.
And it has been.
I love that. No, I think special teams has definitely been putting them in a really good spot for this offense to go to work. And I mean, when the offense is clicked, we've seen what the offense can be, right? We've seen what they can do when Sean Payton's just on his game.
Right? Every drive against the Falcons. Just go look at that game. That's what it looks like when they put together a full 4th quarter game.
But something to note about yesterday. Yes, he has the interceptions. Stop, please. Stop.
This is the problem.
I know.
That's the problem.
We have the interceptions. On Sunday, but look at how he bounced back. They have a great play call in the red zone. They execute it once again this season. I think they did that against Atlanta. That was that same play, the little Nate Adkins leak out. And then Cortland Sutton runs one of the most beautiful routes I've ever seen Cortland Sutton run.
Oh,
my
goodness.
Goodness. And Bo with just a fucking layup, right? But they came back and they executed at the end of the game. So I think I always try to take away some kind of positive from it, even in those bad situations, right? Hey, in the fourth quarter, did we execute this play well? And there were a couple of runs in the second half of the game that were better, right? So you look at the film and you say, man, third, fourth quarter, we executed really well. How do we get to the point where we're doing this same level of execution in the first quarter, in the second quarter? Why does it need to be a halftime adjustment for us to actually...
He said the thing from the thing.
For us to actually wake up and play. Why can't we help the defense out? Defense is balling out, right? Watching this game over, they gave you so many opportunities and you just couldn't move the fucking ball. This could have been a 50 burger. It really could have been.
Easily could have and should have been.
If they just executed on every opportunity, they turned the ball over 5 times. 5 times. That's so many points, y'all. That's 35. If you can score a touchdown on every single one of those points, every single one of those turnovers, it's 35 points. Boom. Quick maths, right?
It's really good math.
At least go down and get 3. Something, but they could not move the ball to save their fucking lives. So how do we take that third quarter energy and that fourth quarter energy and we apply it to the first half? How do we do that? How do they get motivated? Because you're staring the playoffs right in. Vegas said you were only going to win 6 games. Nobody we always hear the Chiefs talk about everybody doubted it. Motherfucker, you were favored at the beginning of the season. This is the team who has the worst roster in the league. This is the team who was only supposed to win 6 games.
The fake underdog angle is my least favorite in all of sports. The Lakers do it, the Yankees do it, the Chiefs do it, the Patriots. Brady did it at the end of the Patriots run. You're deluded.
It's just so disingenuous. So this team has to look at themselves in the face, with the rest of these games coming this Thursday. This is a well-coached team. It doesn't matter whether or not they got blown out this last game or
it happens.
It happens. We've seen that with
shit happens.
The Broncos. How do you take that the attitude in the locker room during warmups, during your pregame stretching, during tomorrow's practice and walkthrough? How do you get into their heads and you say, how bad do you want it? Because what you showed me in the first and second quarters of last week and every single game this season is not so somebody asked, what did Bo say today? And I asked you, and I don't think you heard me. Bo said, we have to win 3 games. Then we have to win 3 more games. Then go win a Super Bowl, and walked off. I love the attitude, but I don't love.
What was that?
I don't love the attitude with the performance that we're seeing when these games start. Yeah, you want it really bad in the third and fourth quarters because you know that you gotta do what you gotta do. What do we call that? Hero ball.
Tebow time. We call it Tebow time?
Tebow time, yes.
Remember Tebow time?
That was great. But that has to be the attitude on Thursday. It has to be the attitude on on the Saturday game, it has to be the attitude, despite Patrick Mahomes' alleged ankle sprain.
He's such a little cock
If
boy.
Carson
He was
Wentz is
not
playing in
hurt.
that game,
He's
if
the
Carson
most
Wentz,
dramatic
look,
prima donna in the
that hit
entire
looked
league.
bad. That hit looked bad.
No,
And
it didn't. It
like
looked bad because he's. It looked bad. It looked worse than it is because he's frumpy.
Let's have some
Okay, he has a frumpy little body that
crushed.
looks like melted ice cream and mashed potatoes. Okay, that's why it looked worse. He goes out there all bow-legged and he's always freaking limping, and he wants people to think that he's so freaking tough. He's not hurt. Like, give me a break. He's a drama queen. He's dramatic. He's good. He's good at football, but it's just like, brother, you already get more attention. It's the same thing. It's like, bro, you already get more attention than you remotely deserve. You're a system quarterback that's been carried by Andy Reid throughout your entire career and been carried by Travis Kelce and been carried by an elite defense the last few years for your entire career. You're not that good. You fooled a lot of people into thinking that you were really good, but you're just like a really, really good system quarterback. Good for you, bro. You roll an ankle, rub some fucking dirt on it, man up, and get back out there. It doesn't need to be a whole big thing. And then he's going to, well, we have to play on a Friday, and then we have to play on a Saturday. It's like, you play football, brother. Shut the fuck up and go play football. You're a candy ass. God, that's soft.
I lit the match. I said, shh, and then I threw it at the gasoline.
Just threw it right in the gasoline tank and let me.
All I'm gonna say is
you triggered me.
It looked like it hurt. That shit looked like it hurt. But anyways,
yeah, if you're a candy ass.
Despite Carson Wentz potentially playing in that game, the attitude for the first and second quarters need to match the third and fourth. If Sean Payton is telling this team, you have a chance, because there's a lot of teams that are looking vulnerable, but there's no other team that's looking more vulnerable than the Denver Broncos right now. The defense is deep, but it's only on one side of the ball. How can we possibly stop the Broncos defense? Well, go watch the Cleveland game.
Pray that Levi Wallace is on the field.
I mean, linebackers are out there too.
Because I have news for you, brother. But it's quite different with Chris Strain on the field.
Yes, and it would be. But they're banking on that. That's the thing. Is they're saying if we can influence them in this way, then we could have something on, but they can only go to one side. So other teams are going to be watching this offense and saying, oh, we can trick Bo Nix into doing this. We can load the box and force Bo Nix to throw. Bo also has to be the guy to check your shit at the line of scrimmage. If you're getting a certain look, you have a play action call off of it. I know you do. You've got to change, right? Got to do more of that. There was a play. It was oh my god! It was the toss, the second run play of the game. He kills it, and then they ran the play that they ran, and it was so badly executed. I was like, what did we kill from? What was the look that we possibly killed from? And I was like, we have to be smarter at the line of scrimmage. Other teams are going to see this. They already do. And they're going to say, well, he's not going to check out. Build the box. Have fun running. Like, you're not getting enough push. Chris Jones is going to – I'm scared. I'm honestly, if we play the Chiefs and Chris Jones is playing, that's the one thing that's going to keep me up at night, because they kind of exposed him in the first game. Yes.
Because of Watton Turd?
Yes. Because of Watton Turd.
Did you like my new nickname? I just thought of that.
Yeah, it's great. But I think a lot of things need to change. It's just, will they do it? Will they be in the mindset to do it? I don't know.
Well, and I think this is a really good measuring stick game. I like that it was flexed to Thursday night. I know it sucks for the people that had the travel plans, and the game was supposed to be on the weekend. You can take off of work, you can go to it. So it's like from that standpoint, it's a shame. I like that
Brother.
they get to bounce back quickly, and the offense kind of gets to come out against a much better defense. Like the Chargers defense is much better than the
Yeah.
Colts as a unit. I know again they just got cooked by Baker Mayfield, but who doesn't? Oh, right, the Broncos, but we won't mention that. It was a bad week. We already discussed that. It's not indicative of who the Chargers are as a team. This is a really good measuring stick because you already lost to this team. You probably don't if Pat Surtain doesn't get hurt in that game, but now you're not going to have Riley Moss again. We assume that we're going to have Pat Surtain, but if you don't, man, VJ is really going to have to earn his keep if he's going out without cornerbacks number 1 and 2. But we're praying. Seems like Pat is going to be okay, so we're just getting fingers crossed. With or without, and the bottom line, we want to look at it from the offensive side of the ball. We know by and large what we're going to get from the defense. Can the offense sustain drives? Can the offense move the ball? Can they put consistent points on the board? Can they stop going 3 and out early in the game? Can they stop relying on these third and fourth quarter momentum shifts to get it rolling? That's what we need to see out of this Chargers game. Obviously, the most important thing is to find a win. Obviously. But again, you are shifting your attention as a Broncos fan to how do we win playoff games? You are going to play against the Chargers, who are going to be a playoff team. They're going to be the 6th or 7th seed, depending on how this game on Thursday night goes. How do you stack up against another playoff team, a team that you already got beat by, a team that exposed you on defense because they were able to run the ball, a team that exposed you until the fourth quarter when, I don't know if this is true, but apparently they were in prevent and they were allowing the, Bo Nix to kind of throw it around. They felt bad for him. Because that's what NFL teams do, Pat, is, they felt bad. They're like, hey, he's a rookie quarterback. Let's give him an opportunity to throw the ball around, develop a little bit. That's what I was told was the only reason that Bo succeeded at the end of that game. And maybe that's a jumping off point, right, Pat? Maybe you only cut film in the fourth quarter of that game and be like, this is what we're capable of. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to beat this team. But how do you stack up against the Chargers? They're a much better team than we saw on Sunday. They are one of the better teams in the AFC. They have the coaching, they have the quarterback, and they have the defense to be a threat in the playoffs if everything goes according to plan. Now, what I will say is the offense that they roll out looks drastically different without J.K. Dobbins.
It sure does.
Because Gus Edwards is basically like Javonte Williams, except with maybe a little bit less burst and a little bit worse vision. Gus Edwards, I think, is a non-factor. So you're going to have to get after Justin Herbert. You're going to have to shut down Ladd McConkey. And I think this needs to be like one of these, 17 to 14, 17 to 13 type of games. It's like, I want more, Pat, but this is just the vibe that I'm getting. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope the offense is able to score more points. Man. But you've got to prove it. They're not doing well enough against these porous defenses. Like, they got to stop turning the ball over. Like, Bo has to lock back in, and he has to stop having these lapses in judgment and missing his reads and not setting his feet. Like, these are some of the things we've seen in the last couple of weeks, Pat. That's what we saw earlier in the season when we were kind of worried. And then it got better and better and better and better. And then there's been regression. And obviously that's to be expected. But now at some point you got to turn it back around. At some point you got to turn it back on. And there's no better time to do it than on the road against the division rival who was one game away from you in the standings.
Man, their last 4 games, they haven't gotten over 100 yards rushing. Their last 4 games.
And what's their record in those 4 games?
1-3.
They got to run the ball.
They cannot run the ball. This is
their entire identity on offense, despite having Herbert, revolves around the run game.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that Pat, if Ladd McConkey can play, which I assume he is, Pat's going to be able to lock that down. I'm like, force them to throw to Quentin Johnston, please. He made a couple catches. Made a couple catches in the Chiefs game that I was like, ooh. But this season has just been so tough. They've scored 17 points straight, 3 games straight, too. So they are not doing well offensively. I did not realize how
and
really
Justin
bad
Justin Herbert's being held together by duct tape at this point.
No, for real. It's tough. Man, but like he can still sling it. He can still rip the ball. And he's making some great throws in these games. But
as long as Pat is good to go, and I will get confirmation.
Yeah,
shortly
I think like
about whether or not he is. VJ can be in his bag in this game, Pat.
Yeah,
VJ can really be in his bag. You're not going to need to worry about their run game. You got to shut down McConkey, and you can get after Herbert. He did not have a single rush attempt in last week's game, and you could tell he just didn't look right, man. Honestly, I think we are going to see some sexy ass pressures from Vance Joseph.
The problem with the first game was that offensive line came to play, and they stonewalled the front. They stonewalled them pretty good. Like, hats off to them. But they've been giving up some. Alt's gotten some penalties in the last few games. Like, I feel like if Malcolm Roach keeps playing at the level that he's playing, because he was working against Indy, and Nick just keeps being Nick. His IQ as well, fucking nuts.
Absurd.
He's on a heater. We just need these guys to keep playing at that level and like take that first game personally. This is a division rivalry football game, essentially for their playoff spot.
They punched you in the mouth the first time y'all played.
And y'all were doing fantastic. The league was chirping, hey, this Broncos pass defense is pretty good. And then you said, okay, bet. And ripped you apart. Justin was just back there all the time in the world. Okay. I will say this. I've seen Justin take off this season a little bit more. Greg Roman effect. I think that is something that we'll need to watch for, but better than him just fucking ripping it down the field all over you. Brandon Jones needs to keep playing the way that he's playing. Shout out Muse. And Pat needs to keep being Pat. I'm fine. Like KAD and even shout out Damari Mathis, man. Shout him out. He's back. Come on. It's nice to see him out there. He got cooked a couple times.
It's fine. You know, if he has a game like how Chris Abrams-Drain had, then I will shout him out.
KAD, I'm completely confident in him to match up with Quentin Johnson. Completely
certified dog.
And McMillan, like these guys killing it.
Here's what's funny about McMillan. Let's address this really quick and then we'll move on. One of the most hysterical things that we had to hear over and over and over and over on that Thursday night game against the Browns, and it happened a lot because McMillan made a lot of plays, and I think it was Troy Aikman that kept insinuating or kept asserting the fact that, oh, he hasn't had a good year. He struggled this year. I'm like, brother, I'm not sure what games you're watching. I think if I'm remembering correctly, he's been targeted more than any other slot corner. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he has given up more yards than any other slot corner, but he has also gotten the most snaps as a strict slot corner. Yep. Oh, also, there's this guy, Pat Surtain, other side. Pretty good. Teams don't really want to throw at him. Also, there's this other dude you probably heard about him. He's the Great White Hope. He's our Jackie Robinson, Riley Moss. Also pretty good. So they have to throw it somewhere. But to infer that McMillan hadn't been having a good season, that's just insane. Yeah. And it's funny. It really felt, Pat, like McMillan had the audio in his helmet the entire game. Because it's like every single time, Troy Aikman said it like 5 or 6 times that he's been having a rough year. And every single time he was like, bet. Okay, bet. Okay, bet. Okay, watch this. Okay, watch this. Okay, watch this.
That's the only reason that he was saying that is because they were doing their stuff, pre-game, and he was just looking at the numbers and going,
He's looking at numbers.
Oh, okay.
He's a guy that's not watching the film, just like Nate Tice.
Okay.
Yeah, boy.
Oh my God.
Nate Tice has been taking a beating on this show. Hopefully he watches sometime and he decides to find Jesus and fix his life.
No.
Anything else you want to get to before we get bricked up in here?
We didn't talk about which bricked up segment you were going to have, or which bricked up clip you were going to do.
We didn't. I'm not even sure what I'm going to say. I'm going to let you go first, and then I'm just going to let the winds flow through me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I have nothing prepared. Are you doing a play? Should I hit the? Do you want me to warm you up? Do you want me to rub it?
I'm trying to find it. Fuck. Where is it? Oh my God! Hang on. I'm sorry.
Just instead of like we're having technical difficulties screen, let me just hit him with this.
But it's been the Crosby, Nix, Wilson, Nix matchups today.
That's the Bo Nix that we need to see.
I know it is. Dude? I'm so sorry. This is fucking. Where is it? I can't find it. You're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to start.
Performance issues are normal. I think that it's like 1 in 4, and you just had a procedure, so you can't feel too bad about it. Welcome to the segment that many people are calling the greatest segment in all of Broncos sports talk. This is Bricked Up on Altitude Adjustment. If you're unfamiliar, this is the part of the show where me and Pat and anybody that might be joining us tell you what makes us bricked up when it comes to Denver Broncos or just sports in general. Patrick, LTB Muse, wanted to hit you with a quote. I don't fear a delay of game, and that's okay. Would you like to go first, or should I start us off?
I got it. Relax. Okay, here we go. Make sure you click the thing.
We're just waiting for the. There it is. Let's see it.
So sorry.
I'm so glad you're doing this.
All right. This is what gets me bricked up. Okay. What did John Gruden say? Some people like dreams, but I like nightmares. This is awesome. Okay. Y'all know what it is. JL
Skinner is haunting. Is every single Colt on the field, JL Skinner is haunting their dreams like Freddy Krueger.
Here is our man, JL Skinner. Now, this is a fucking bomb by Sanchez here. This is an absolute fucking boot. Now, he kind of gets lost checking back here. But he's setting up. This is great. So they're setting up all of these blocks right here. Oh, look at all this fucking grass. This is so much room.
He outkicked his coverage a little bit here, Pat.
A little bit. Gunner's there. He's got decent enough contain on that side, but that's fine. We get a good little run-by block there. Helps lead that gunner deeper downfield into his set. But look at these blocks being set up. Here's Lucas Kroll. Here's JL Skinner. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have seen the new Kraven the Hunter movie. Allegedly, it is ass. This should be the new Kraven the Hunter movie because this is scary as fuck.
One block. There's one. We'll count them together. There's one.
Look at him square the shoulders, little
put him on his ass.
Bench press him. Just maintains his seal. Okay, we got it. Who's this, Mario?
Drew Sanders. Drew, welcome back from the dead, Drew Sanders. Everyone forgot you existed, and he reintroduced himself on this play too, Pat.
I saw this too. Trust and believe, it caught my eye. Good seal block here. Now, we've got 1-on-2. Okay. We've got 1-on-2. At least that's what it looks like, right? JL Skinner is looking for the kill. He knows, okay, he missed it. That's fine. He ain't going to get both of these dudes. And Drew does a little, I love this about Drew, little whoop-de-doo. Now we've got another guy in front.
Because Drew realizes he doesn't need to waste his time blocking the punter.
Nope. They just finish out. This is fantastic. My God.
JL Skinner blocked 3 or 4 different people on this play.
Blocks on the same one. And when I tell you this is sexier on the tight, this is what's going to get you bricked up. Okay. Really on the tight. This is all designed. Okay. This guy runs out. He's blocking him. There's the one. My God. Little whoop. 2. Oh, play still going. Let me just
3.
get some more. He said the plays. He's out of bounds. He looks. Oh shit. Marvin's still in. He's still up. Let me go find some more work. Let me go find some more work. Bah! Get out the club. Sit your ass down. My God, that's what gets me bricked the fuck up. That's
fantastic.
Special teams ace of the year. He's our David Bruton.
He should be in serious consideration for a Pro Bowl appearance as a special teamer, as well as Traymon Smith, if we're being completely honest.
Old buddy from the Patriots was. Get him in there just for special teams work. That's the type of shit that I want to see.
You make a really good career out of that. Let me tell you what has me bricked up. At the very beginning of the season, let me take you back, Pat. Let me take you back to July, August. We had no idea who the number 2 cornerback was going to be. It was a failed experiment last year. We cycled through some guys. I think Foster Moreau was a human being whose name I knew last year. Okay, it was a weird time. You bring in Levi Wallace. Okay, he's bounced around. He's fine. He's okay. We got Riley Moss. Okay, well, he's white, so we don't really know what to expect there. Damari Mathis. Yeah, he had an opportunity last year and kind of poo-pooed all in his pants. But that's okay. That'll happen. And then there was a young man drafted out of Mizzou by the name of Chris Abrams-Drain. Someone that you and I really liked before the draft. Someone that when they drafted him, you and I texted each other basically bricked up over this guy. Yeah. Now we fast forward and, Chris Abrams-Drain obviously makes the team. 5th round pick. I really thought that he would have gone sooner, but they got excellent value out of him. Riley Moss turns out to be an absolute baller. Love it. He's been fantastic. Riley Moss goes down. Levi Wallace gets... He doesn't have a very good game. Not his best game as a pro. This becomes a problem, Pat, because the Indianapolis Colts, despite having a quarterback who completes fewer than 50% of his passes, they've got some dogs at wide receiver. Pittman's still a very reliable target. Alec Pierce, a fantastic deep threat. Josh Downs, one of the better slot possession receivers in the league. A.D. Mitchell, hasn't really found his footing yet, but can absolutely go. They got some dudes that can get open, that can catch the ball, and they can score touchdowns. So you're going into this game and you're like, okay, we know that we don't have Riley Moss. Pat Surtain is locked down. Whoever he's on, we don't need to worry about him. Jaquan McMillian, who's ever in the slot, we're good. This number 2 corner position, this could potentially be a problem. Yeah. Because we're not comfortable playing Levi Wallace, clearly. We cannot put him back out there in good conscience. So what do? They basically roll out Damari Mathis and Chris Abrams-Drain, and they kind of get a sense of who's playing better. And Damari Mathis didn't have a bad game at all. He was fine.
He's fine.
Chris Abrams-Drain, who is a 5th-round rookie making his first career start, getting his first prominent playing time after the first defensive snaps that he got were on the last drive of a one-possession game. And it's like, man, you can come into that situation and you can strap Jerry Jeudy, who cooked you for almost 600 yards. Yeah, then you deserve an opportunity. If I'm remembering correctly, Pat, Chris Abrams' drain was thrown at 7 times. He gave up 1 catch. And he had a few plays, Pat, that looked like teach tape. And my favorite thing about this guy, and when you and I talked about the draft class, we each said that he reminded us a lot of another Chris who was quote unquote undersized at the cornerback position, and that's Chris Harris. We said that this guy has excellent footwork, plays with great anticipation, and he plays bigger than he is. He is a very physical corner for the size that he is. Do you have a clip pulled up for me? I see you searching over there. Is there something that you want to show me? I was just saying, like, the fact that Abrams Drain was able to come in as a 5th-round pick and play as well as he did in his first career start, when you know that they are going to try to exploit you and pick on you the way that they did to your counterpart, Levi Wallace, the week before, and you strap shit down?
Say it.
Down. I'm going to have to strap myself down because that got me bricked up.
My goodness. I love it. I don't have a clip per se, but I will say, like, it was very impressive.
You're just looking there. You're trying to find something. But here's the thing, man. Like, the best part about, like, a cornerback having a really good game, you don't hear their name a lot. How often did we hear Levi Wallace's name last Thursday night or Monday night? Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly heard it. When they have a graphic up of how many catches and yards and touchdowns that you've given up as a DB, if it's not all zeros, you had a really bad game. And they were doing that shit in like the second quarter, okay? There was a lot of pressure on Chris Abrams, Jane. Season on the line, really, if you think about it. And I know, Pat, they wanted to go after him. Anthony Richardson has the worst completion percentage out of any starting quarterback. They are telling him, you look at whatever side number 2 is on, you look the other effing side, Anthony, okay? You are that dude someday, but you're not that dude yet. Go throw at number 31. He's a fifth round rookie. And what happened, Pat? He strapped shit down.
Yes. His IQ is absolutely insane. It's super fluid athlete. I feel like he's just picking back up at Mizzou. This is the same player that we saw on tape. And
100%.
It's just benefit of the riches, right? Like, he can play inside, he can play outside. But even asked to be outside, he's perfectly fine. I think it's awesome. I think it's really great that we're going to have such good depth at corner going forward. And it's like, damn, we're going to have 3. And if they don't re-sign or if they don't choose to keep McMillan down the road, like, you have a replacement there as well. So it's just the benefit of the riches.
You can never have too many good corners, especially in today's NFL and especially in the AFC West.
I feel like him playing in this Chargers game is also going to make a big difference. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like,
it's always going to be a big difference when you don't have to worry about Levi Wallace being on the field.
Yeah. But it's also like, think about that last game. We didn't have Pat and everything went to shit, right?
Well, they had to change everything on the fly. They had to change everything that they wanted to do because when you don't have Pat, it changes your entire approach on defense.
Yeah. And I feel like Chris Abrams Drain is just a dog.
Pat, really quick, give me a prediction for this this Thursday night game against the Chargers.
Oh, man, I haven't even really got.
I mean, we can assume that the Chargers are going to score 17 points, right? Just kind of stick with their recent trend. So there's half of the score right there.
I don't know. No, I feel like the Broncos defense has just been on one. I feel like they've been causing turnovers and 6 turnovers in their last 4 games. I mean, shit. I think if the offense can just put together a couple of good drives, I'm going to go 17-10 Broncos.
Oh,
Broncos
I
17.
think holding that team to 7 to 10 points would be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, Chargers are going to score 17 points again because that's apparently what they do now. You know what? I think Broncos score 27. I think they're going to get there some help from their defense. They're not going to be able to run the ball. We want to keep our predictions realistic. I think Bo Nix is going to end up being their leading rusher. And I think the run game is in trouble unless Tyler Bidet makes a miraculous recovery. Still don't know what's up with him. I mean, we haven't really seen him ever since that Jets game. I know he had a really bad injury. I feel like we haven't been updated. I feel like we're owed some sort of update, but because Sean Payton is our coach, we're not going to get it. That's okay. Not going to be able to run the ball. This is going to have to be another Bo Nix game where he throws way too many passes. But I think the biggest thing that we have seen from Bo and the most reassuring thing having him as a quarterback doesn't dwell on his mistakes and he tends to learn from them. Yeah. I think these last couple of games he was good, not great, and he made bad mistakes. And I think he's going to look back, he's going to clean it up. And I think being on a short week is actually going to help because he's not going to overthink things. He's just going to be able to go out there and sling it and play. And I honestly think where he's at right now in his development, this is what he needs. He needs to not overthink things. He needs to go out there, sling the rock, just play football. Stop overthinking, stop throwing to spots just in case that they're not there. Play reactionary, improvisational football. And I think they're gonna be fine. And like I said earlier, this needs to be a statement game. Okay, you need to start sending messages because as it stands right now, no other playoff team fears you. That's just a fact. No other playoff team is worried about playing the Broncos in round 1. Change their minds. Change the mindset. Change how they view you as a football team.
I dig it.
My name is Mario Batanzi. That sexy bitch over there is Patrick Chiotti. God, you get me bricked up every week. I hope to be back with you all next week. If I'm not, it is because my wife is with child, and said child will probably be here on Sunday evening. And depending on how everything goes, it might be Pat and a source to be named later wrapping up that Chargers game and then also previewing the Bengals game. So in case I don't see you, I love you all very much. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Altitude Adjustment. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.